Good morning, and welcome to Winnipeg. Now, a few minutes ago when I was getting ready to do my opening scene here, I thought if I wait about 20 minutes, the sun will be coming up, and it'd be kind of nice to have the sun rising just as I'm having my opening scene. There's something kind of nice about that. At least I think there is. However, I want to get going. So if the sunrise is nice, I'll dub it in later. Now, I know it looks like it's light outside, but it's not. The surveillance cameras do a real good job of making dark look normal. I mean, it's even showing the color of the grass, but it's not bright out. The sun isn't coming up for about 20 minutes. Yeah. I think it'll come up around 7:55, 7:56, something like that today. But I want to get going. And now, do you remember, this will be a little bit on the fuzzy side, but we'll zoom in on it properly later. Right here, there was a bit of a gap in the top. And when I was looking at the video yesterday after it uploaded onto YouTube, like usually what happens is after I get it on YouTube, I'll watch it. I'll often watch it before you get a chance to see it, just to make sure that there isn't something horrendous in there that I should, take out. And I don't think that's ever happened. Not horrendous, anyway. So I was looking at it, and I'm seeing this gap here, and I was thinking, it sure would have been a nice idea if I had have noticed that there was that little tiny bit of plastic in there that was holding the point apart, and I would have sanded that down, and then the pieces would have meshed together properly. But hindsight is better than foresight, right? Yeah. So anyway, I'm thinking, what can I do about that now, and how is that going to affect the parts that I'm going to be gluing on here later, which, by the way, the photo etch upgrade parts that are coming in the mail, they could be here any day actually, are in this area right here. And so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself there. You know what we should do today, after we get the elastic bands and everything off, and make sure that the deck does fit down properly, and I'm sure it will because it did yesterday, so why won't it today, right? I think maybe I should find the part that actually goes on top here. And I do believe we have to modify that part a little bit, so I don't want to be gluing it down. I just want to interrupt here. I got a little bit curious later, and I did check to see what is the status on our photo etch parts. And it looks like the information, they're still in the UK, but I got a feeling they're probably here in Canada. Anyway, how about that other part, the anchor chain? Well, the anchor chain is here in Canada, at least according to the information, so it could be here any day as well. It'll be fun to open those up, won't it? I'm starting to ramble here, and I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah. So I was thinking it would have been nice if I had removed that little bit of plastic. We'll put the macro lens on in a few minutes. And I was thinking, what can I do about it now? And I was thinking I could take my little saw, this one, and just carefully go down and try and get rid of that thing somehow, and then maybe I could squeeze it together, and probably about 15 minutes or so after I had watched that. Well, maybe it was a little longer than that. Aussie Frenchman made a comment. He says, "Why don't you take your razor saw and cut that out?" And so I commented back to him, and I said something like, "How could he read my mind from that far away? He's in Australia, and I'm up here in Canada, and he read my mind from that far away." Oh boy, I must be having a hard time thinking of something to talk about this morning, right? Let's recompose here, and just get going. And if the sunrise is worth looking at, I'll show it a little later in today's episode. Okay, I think we're more than safe to take these off now. Okay, now it is going to be what it is for the rest of its life because there is no changing it now. Let's be really careful here. This is such a big hull. Okay, I think I can, I won't be able to do as good a job as somebody like, Nigel, who's really good at this kind of stuff, and probably some of you other people, but I do believe we should be able to put putty along the sides there and sort of smooth it out. I was never really good at that, like I guess you would call it drywalling, where you use plaster on the walls to fill the cracks and stuff like that. Let's put our macro lens on, and let's see, is this gonna fit in that crack? Or yeah, I think we can. I think we can quite easily saw that out. I don't want to go too deep because then I'm going to have other problems. Okay, let's recompose here. Now, maybe it'd be a good idea to do our deck fitting right now. I don't think it's going to change it a whole lot if I move these two parts here a 1/4 of a millimeter closer together. I'm going to try and not go on and on and on like I did yesterday about how well these parts fit together. Okay. Well, I wouldn't want to use the word perfect, but it's practically perfect. This is gonna go together really well. And if I can do a nice job, puttying along the seam so that it doesn't bulge out or bulge in, or yeah, it'll be better than it is right now. In all likelihood, there's been people that haven't even bothered to close that up. They probably just painted it and left it that way. I don't know. Okay, now we'll recompose. Okay, now, I am actually having a hard time seeing what it is that I thought I saw yesterday. Like, I thought I had seen, where's my pointer here? Well, the screwdriver will work. I thought I had seen a little piece of plastic that looked like it was holding this seam apart. But I'm not really seeing that now. In other words, like I'm looking from the back here, and I can't see my finger through the. It looks like it's all sealed up. So I don't know if cutting this down is really going to allow me to squeeze this together or not. Whoops. I don't want to break it either. It might. Let's I keep saying let's put the macro lens on, and then I don't do it. So let's put the macro lens on. I'm going to set the camera right here, looking this way, and maybe we can do it. I'm almost scared to do it, and yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to make it worse. But I don't see how I could make it worse. Well, yeah, I could make it worse, no question about that. Okay, we'll use Mr. T's poking device here. Give you an idea of the perspective. That's my finger. And what I want to do is come down with the saw just past and get down into this seam here, and then hopefully that's going to allow us to squeeze this together. Now I do want to remember that I can't move this thing or you won't be seeing what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to put my hand down behind here just to hold it down. Now it automatically or easily just drops down, so the problem starts right here where the teeth are. Maybe I'm going to have to hold it just a little bit further back here. I'm going to try and keep the blade in line with the keel. Just let me check the monitor here. I've got a ways to go, don't I? Now, when I'm cutting plastic or plexiglass, if you go quickly, you produce heat, which in turn melts the plastic or plexiglass, and then your blade will bind. In fact, if I try to cut plexiglass on the table saw down in the workshop, it will literally become molten at where it's being cut, and it will fill my workshop with sort of a gas. Okay, I think we're down now about as far as I want to go. Let's just take that out, and we'll just clear any debris that's in there. All right, now, are we going to be able to squeeze this a little bit further together? Somewhat. In fact, it goes together at the top. Now, I don't know if it will stay together at the top. It might not, but at least it's going to be a lot better. And then what we can do is down here where we're obviously going to have a gap now from the width of the razor saw, we can fill that with putty. And I think once it's all smeared over and sanded down, we're not even going to know we had this problem. Yeah, that was kind of fun, actually. Okay, I was cleaning that up a little bit, and I just was thinking if I was to take a piece of paper here and try and get rid of some of the debris that's in there, but then I was realizing afterwards that the debris that is in there is actually sawdust that is probably going to turn itself into sprue goo. So okay, you're probably noticing that time is getting away on us again, and we've had our sunrise obviously, and I did record it, and I'm going to tack it on the end of today's episode. It's only about 1.5 minutes long. Nothing special. Don't have to watch it if you don't want to. Now, here's my thinking. I have sawed this down to here. That's as far as I went. I'm thinking that maybe, okay, here's the thing. When I'm squeezing this together like this to bring these two parts together, I'm actually putting quite a bit of force. I think that what is likely going to happen is that this is going to separate here. I don't think the glue will hold it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go further down, not as far down as to where it gets really skinny right here, but probably about another, I'm guessing, a couple of centimeters, or to about where the end of my finger is. Yeah, I think it'd be safe to go there about that far, and then it'll squeeze together a lot easier, and it won't be noticed that it's a tiny bit, narrower here than normal. And we'll be filling this in with putty. It'll just make it a lot easier to glue together. So let's just go ahead and do that here now. Okay, and what's happening is I'm actually going right through that peg. If you remember, there was a peg with a hole that we talked about before at the beginning of this series. So now let me check the monitor. I want to make sure I'm not going way off to one side or the other, and going to really make things awkward for myself later. The saw is starting to bind a little bit. Let's just check that out now. You know what? I think I've gone far enough. I only have to put about half as much pressure now to hold this together. Okay, let's just for the fun of it. Earlier I had talked about finding the part that's going to go in here. Let's check ahead in the manual and see what it is, and just lay it on and just see that if squeezing this together like this is going to make any change, or is it going to be a case of the the part we're going to be putting on here would have covered everything up, and wouldn't have noticed this anyway. So yeah, let's just do that. Okay, I've paged ahead here to step 13, and this is the part that we have to drop down on the bow. And at first I thought, oh, that's funny, they forgot to put the number of what it is. Then I realized it's over here, in a sort of a blowing up area that we have to put a bunch of detail on it. And it's called a G27. Now, it seems to me I've already labeled all my sprues for this months ago already, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. G27. Okay, the G sprue. And there's only one of them. And here's our part. Now, I have been told that this part is wrong. That this part is actually for the Missouri, not the Iowa. And but it will also fit the Iowa because the hulls are so similar. And that's why this upgrade is being sent to us, in the hopes that it's not going to be too difficult for me to, cut this away and put on whatever I'm supposed to. Now, I don't want to disappoint anybody or seem ungrateful or anything like that, but when I get it, if I think it is too hard and just maybe a little bit beyond my capabilities, or it's just not going to be any fun to do, I'll be putting this part on. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. I am gonna give it an honest try, though. We'll see what happens. But one thing's for sure: once I start cutting on this piece, I gotta keep going, no matter how difficult it is. And yeah, okay. Let's get this nipped off here. Okay. Obviously this is up. So let's just for the fun of it see. Okay, these pins probably go on holes that are in the deck. And I just went and put the deck away. Now, I'm not complaining, but there is a little bit of flashing right there. Okay, I'm complaining. Okay, I don't know why I bothered taking flashing off of an area that we're probably going to be cutting away anyway, but it just sort of bothered me. Okay, I've got the deck back on, and you can see it's fairly easy now to squeeze that gap together. There is a little bit of play here. I believe we got it as far ahead as I can get it. Okay, and these two pegs go in those two holes. This is the first time I'm trying it, by the way. Okay, so that's the way it goes. All right. Yeah, I can see where if we didn't have these together, we would be able to tell. I had sort of thought that possibly, let me get this back on here and get my fingers out of the way. Okay, that's where it's supposed to go. And yeah, I can see that gap would have showed if we hadn't done something about it. So now we've done something about it. Anyway, this apparently, like I mentioned, is actually for the Missouri, so I'm told. Okay, just another perspective of it. You can probably see the gap closing a little better there now. Okay, enough. Let's glue it together. Now, I haven't tried this yet, but I was just eyeballing it there, and I was noticing that it appeared that these anchor hose pipes are going to be just perfect to squeeze in on. I think they should put, yeah, and it doesn't have to be real tight. So long as it looks like it's not going to open up again. I don't think it will. Sometimes these kind of clamps, they slowly open up on you. I know I bought a whole bunch of, I think I bought 24 of clamps. They're about 10 times this big, but the same idea. And out of the 24, I think I had maybe 20 or 22 that actually worked well. There was a couple that slowly opened up on me. Now, my plan is, I'm just going to use the extra thin. I'm not going to use the quick setting. And I'm going to sop it in there pretty good. I don't want to deform the front here. Let me get my other glasses going here. Okay, it's a good thing I can cut out the nonsense. All right. Now I got this opened up enough. I think so. Maybe I better just double check here. You know the old saying, check twice, put it on once, or something like that. Okay, I think that's about right. Okay, here we go. And up here. This is actually where it's the most important. Okay, now before that starts to cure, and not too much, just enough to hold it together. All right, how's it look in the monitor? I think with a little bit of sanding it's going to be all right. I think that's going to be a nice strong joint once that all melts together. Okay, I'm going to cut today's episode off right now. Not a whole lot I can do right now anyway. Have to wait for this to dry. I want to give it lots of time. I don't want these daily vlogs to become an obsession, and lately they kind of have. And important things like making pizza and stuff like that has sort of gone by the wayside. So I'm going to cut today's episode off. So thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.